Hello, I'm Daniel, and welcome to the Emunah Project. In our continuing series on blessings, on Brachas, and Berachot, I want to spend a couple of minutes talking not about the mechanics of what blessing goes where. This is not this kind of subject right now. What I want to do is to introduce you to the concept of how properly and meaningfully to make a bracha, to make a blessing. It requires concentration, it requires kavanah. It deserves it. It's good for you and it's good for your soul. When you have an opportunity, when you get to make a blessing, take a bite from an apple, for example. Stop. Think about what you're doing. Take a moment in your mind to remember what the proper blessing is. Have it in your mind before you start. Don't start making the bracha and then halfway through realize you're making the wrong bracha. Start beforehand. This is an apple. This is a fruit from a tree as opposed to a fruit or a vegetable that comes out of the ground. So the blessing is Baalei Pri Ha'etz, brings blessing God, thanking God for the fruit that comes from a tree. Have it in your mind. Say it with meaning if you understand Hebrew. And if you're saying it in Hebrew, concentrate on the words. Make it meaningful. Everyone talks about meaningless ritual. Make it a meaningful ritual. So when you're thanking God, Baruch Atah Hashem, Elokeinu Melech Haolam, blessed are you, God, our God, King of the universe, Baalei Pri Ha'etz, who brings forth fruit from the tree. Then you take a bite. Don't just gobble it like an animal. Take a moment to make something holy. And don't say, Baalei Pri Ha'etz crunch. Think of it. Take your time. Be a mensch. Be a Jew. Be a good, holy person. If you're Bnei Noach and you want to thank God for the food, for the drink, for the water, for the tomatoes, whatever, take that moment. Thank God. And have it full of meaning. Now, the thing about making a blessing is, when you're starting at first to make the blessing, you're usually very careful. You want to wait, you're trying to remember the exact words, you're trying to remember the Hebrew, you want to remember the pronunciation, you want to do everything exactly right. That's not when you're going to make a mistake. You're going to make a mistake when you're starting to get used to it, when you've done it a bunch of times, and you're starting to feel confident. That's when you're going to make a mistake. You know what's going to happen? It's going to be Shabbos. And you're going to be ready to light the candles. You've done it for weeks. You've done it for a month, 2 months, 3 months. You're an old hand at it. And you're thinking, okay, you get some time. You're ready to do the candles, and we're going to do the kiddush, and then we're going to. And so you light the candles, and then you say, Baruch Atah Hashem, Elokeinu Melech Haolam, Asher Kishanu Mitzvah V'Zmano Al Natilas Yadayim, and you make the blessing for washing hands. Think. If you follow the steps that I set out, take a moment, take a breath, clear your mind, have in your mind what the blessing is before you open your mouth. Because then it becomes problematic when you start mentioning the name of God and then you've done it for no reason. We'll get into that in another video. But for now, when we're making when we're making the bracha, what you do is take a second. You can take a second or two. If you're lighting candles, have the bracha in mind. Lahadlik ner shel Shabbos, lahadlik ner shel Yontif. Have it in the mind. And so when you're starting, you've already got that in your mind, and use it and have some meaning to it. So when you're saying the blessing, it's meaningful. If you're washing your hand, al natilas yadayim, have it in your mind. Take a moment, wash your hands, dry it, say the blessing. If you're doing hamotzi, if you're doing the blessing on bread, take a minute. It is a holy moment, the beginning of a meal, blessing bread, especially Shabbos, 2 loaves of bread, reminding us of the double portion of manna given on Friday. It's a holy moment. Take a second. It deserves it, and your soul deserves it. Think of the blessing. Hamoitzi lechem min haaretz, who's brought forth bread from the earth. It's meaningful. Say it. Say it the way it should be said. Meaningful ritual. And afterwards, pause. Now, some things, food, drink, there's a blessing before, and there's a blessing after. The grace after meals, if people who grew up in a non-Jewish culture or have been out for a while, everyone's familiar with it in Christian society. Everybody does a grace before meals. Grace before meals, absolutely. It's the grace after meals, the Berachot Hamazon. That's the one that's commanded in the Torah. That's the one that you're biblically commanded to do, the grace after meals. Nobody does it. We as Jews, when we've satisfied ourselves, when we've had the meal, that's when we're supposed to thank God. There's the blessings before and the blessing after. Don't forget those after brachas. We're going to be doing more videos along the nature of blessing. Until that time, on behalf of the Emunah Project, I'm Daniel, and thank you too much.